Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on your favorite Little Law YouTube channel. So today in this video, we are going to discuss about the reasons behind the JMeter getting crashed with large number of users. Because today in our WhatsApp channel, one of our subscriber, one of our friend has asked that he had executed a load test with 1,500 users and JMeter has got crashed during the load test. So he had asked me the reason. So this is the video for him and for everyone who is trying to run the JMeter load test with a large number of users. So in this video, we're going to discuss about what are the common reasons for the issue and what are the fix for running a load test with a high number of users, like more than 1,500 or even more than 10,000 users. So today we're going to see that in this video, and I'm going to address how to fix these issues as well. So please do watch the entire video, and I believe this video will be very useful to you. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed it yet, and please do like the video if you really like it, and share the video with your friends. And don't forget to join my channel for more quality content like this. And also, as you are all aware that we are having a low runner session on September 14th and 15th. We are almost there. And if you're interested, still if you're interested, you can register yourself for the low runner training. It will be very useful for you if you're someone who is a beginner, if you're someone who wants to enrich your knowledge to advanced performance testing. You can very well join it. We're going to see a lot of interesting topics in it. So yeah, moving on to the topic. So we are going to see when like during the load test, the JMeter is getting crashed while running a script with a large number of users. So there are like several potential reasons for the issue. So we are going to see them one by one, and there are like seven common reasons, I would say, as far as I know. So starting from the resource limitations and the JMeter configuration and the test plan complexity, the network issues, the plugins and extensions, the JMeter versions, the logs and errors. So starting with the resource limitation. So JMeter, we all know, is a very resource intensive and running a large number of virtual users can quickly consume a lot of memory and CPU. So even if you have opened the JMeter in your machine, you can see like almost more than 70 to 80% of the resource, the CPU and the memory will be occupied by JMeter. It's just for one instance, just not even you're running it any test, but the GUI mode actually will take lots of memory. So you have to ensure that the machine running the JMeter has enough resources, which is the RAM and CPU. If not, due to the resource limitation, the JMeter will definitely get crashed. And moving on to the second reason, which is the JMeter configuration. So the default configuration settings in JMeter might not be optimized for high load testing. So it basically comes with the default settings where you can create a script, you can run load test up to like 100 users, even that too in non-GUI mode. So you may need to adjust the settings related to the heap size, the garbage collection, and other parameters. For example, increasing the heap size in the JMeter startup script will definitely help you to fix this issue. So for now, these are the reasons. The main reason is like JMeter configuration, and then the test plan complexity. So a complex test plan with many samplers, like if you are using many samplers in your script, or if you're using multiple controllers like once only controller or transaction controller or random controller. So in case if you're like using too much of controllers, if you really do not need, and if you're using too much of listeners, I would say like view results tree is the main reason for those of you who see that your test is failing. So if you are seeing your JMeter is getting crashed, so make sure you are removing the view results tree entirely from your plan, your test plan, because these can put a significant load on JMeter and so you have to simplify the test plan, and you have to make sure you have to keep only the required samplers, controllers, and listeners, or you can reduce the number of active elements to see if the issue persists. And then the fourth reason is the network issue. So if your test involves a network issue, network issues like network congestion or server limitation can also cause the JMeter to crash. So you have to make sure that your network and server infrastructure can handle the load. So that's the reason behind the network issues. And then moving on to the fifth one, which is the plugins and extensions. So some plugins or extensions might not be fully compatible or optimized for high load scenarios. So you have to ensure that all the plugins that you're using, that you're having in your JMeter, has to be up to date, and they have to be like compatible with your version of JMeter. And moving on to the sixth reason, which is the JMeter version. So make sure that you're using the latest stable version of JMeter, as newer versions comes with bug fixes and performance improvements. So this is one thing which I always ask my subscribers to make sure that they are using the latest stable version, not the latest version, but at least the latest stable version, so that it has all the bug fixes and the performance requirements, the improvements. And then the last one, which is the logs and errors. So you have to check the JMeter's log for any specific error message or stack traces that might give you more insights into the cause of the crash. So the logs can often point out the root cause of the problem. So you have to make sure that you are checking out the logs and errors. You can also try running a smaller test to see if it is a scaling issue or if there is a problem with the test plan itself. So um, if you are able to provide more details, then you can, if you're able to observe or if you're able to collect more details, then it'll be easy for you to diagnose further. Yep. So now we'll see how to address and how to fix these issues. So now in the second part of the video, we'll address and we'll see how to fix this JMeter crash issues. And the first one of it is increasing the JMeter's heap size. So JMeter, we all know it requires a significant amount of memory, especially when simulating a high number of users. So we have to increase the Java heap size by modifying the JMeter startup script. So for Windows, you have to edit the jmeter.bat file, which is located in your bin directory. And we'll see separately in a separate video. But for now, I'll just address you with uh, the all the fixes that we have. But for now, let me tell you how to fix it. So it's going to be like to open the jmeter.bat file, and you have to adjust the XMS and the XMX values. Um, you have to increase it from the default value, which is like from 512M, and the XMS value from 512, and the XMX value from 2048 to XMS to 2048. And like just speaking about the size, so just double the times, or like make it 4 times higher of what you see in the current settings, the current default settings, so that you'll be able to achieve more user load. I mean, like you'll be able to achieve, or you'll be able to execute user load with high number of users. So that's the simple trick which you're going to use. So for Windows, you have to uh, increase the XMS and the XMX value in the properties file in the JMeter. And for Unix or Linux, you have to do the same, increasing the value in the properties file, I mean, which is in the bin directory. And then the next one is optimizing the test plan. So you have to reduce the complexity. So how can you reduce the complexity? So you can do it by simplifying your test plan by removing unnecessary samplers, controllers, or listeners. And each element should add, I mean, like each element which adds overhead, which will definitely add overhead to the test plan. So you have to streamline them. You have to streamline so that you can reduce the load to the system. And also one of the another best practice which I was like telling for a long time. So make sure you're running all your load tests using non-GUI mode, and you know what's the command for that, to run the test in non-GUI mode. And in case if you do not know, please do watch my other videos on how to run your test using non-GUI mode. And in fact, even you can take a HTML test report out of it. So I have posted all my videos in my channel, so you can search for that. And then I have to limit the listeners, so that's another important one. So you have to avoid using listeners in non-GUI mode, or you have to limit them. So instead, you can consider using the results in a form of log files, which is in .jtl format, and you can analyze them post the test. And then the third option is optimizing the JMeter settings. So the thread group settings is a main factor which you have to optimize. So you have to adjust the settings of your thread groups to ensure they are not creating more load than your system can handle. For example, you can use a ramp up period to gradually increase the number of users, rather than instead of sending all the users at the same time. So you can gradually increase the number of users, and then you can use distributed testing. So if one machine cannot handle the load, you can consider using distributed testing, because JMeter allows you to run tests across multiple machines, and you also need to master. You also need a JMeter master and server uh, setup. Like you can use one master with several JMeter slave instances. And then the next one, which is the monitoring the system resources. So when it comes to system monitoring, you have to keep an eye on your system CPU, your CPU's system's memory, and the disk usage while the test is running. So you can use tools like top, Top, or Task Manager uh, in your Windows or Linux machine, or you can use the Performon in the host machine. And then you have to adjust the system settings to make sure that your operating system settings are configured to handle high loads, and this may include increasing file descriptor limits or adjusting the network settings. And then the fifth one, which is checking logs for errors. So this is the only way I would say to find for any issue. So you have to review the jmeter.log file for error messages or any stack traces that might provide clues about why jmeter is getting crashed. And sometimes Java specific logs can also provide you additional information. So I have to check for HS error PID files, the process ID files in the JMeter bin directory or the system's temporary directory. And then the sixth way of fixing it is updating the JMeter plugin. So you have to make sure that you are using the latest version of JMeter, as the updates often include bug fixes and performance improvements. And also make sure you are updating your plugins and your extensions which are used in your test, and make sure they're up to date and compatible with your JMeter versions. And finally, make sure that you start your load test with like smaller test plans, and you gradually increase the load to identify at which point the issue arises. So this is one of the recommendation which I often tell to everybody. So instead of running a higher user load test, just keep on increasing the load to find at which point the issue arises, because this will help you in pinpointing specific problems or the limits which the system can handle. So by following all these steps, you should be able to address and resolve the issue of JMeter crashing during your test. And if the problem persists, you may need to investigate specific configurations, or you can consider alternative testing tools or methodologies. So with that, I come to an end, and I definitely believe this video would be very useful to you. So until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Mr. Shanmugam and your favorite Little Slaw YouTube channel. Take care and bye bye.